You are tuned to 90.3 The Rock, WUTK-FM. Ben Hall, originally from the Magnolia State of Mississippi, but we've been lucky enough to kind of grab him here in the state of Tennessee, thanks, I think, in particular to the good folks at Belmont University. Is that right,
That's
Ben?
right, Ben, yeah.
Ben, welcome to Knoxville,
Thank
man.
you. So glad to be here.
Well, we are tickled to have you here. Just did the Blue Plate downtown with our friends at WDVX.
Had a good time.
I'm sure you did, and I know that crowd appreciated it a lot. Want to first and foremost thank the Dogwood Queen, Kim Fowler, for helping set this up.
Long live the Queen.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. She knows good music and knows when to spread that word about good music to others. And
she's great.
As I said, she is a good one to have on your side and on your team, so thanks to her. But thank you for taking time to come by. We really do appreciate you being here. You got the debut CD out, Ben Hall. That's pretty easy to remember, I think.
Easy enough, I hope.
Yeah, and it was released this March, right?
It was, on the 29th of March. Yeah.
Congratulations to that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ben is in town, obviously promoting this record, and hopefully making Knoxville a regular stop, because it's a town, I think, and for more reasons than one, that is going to relate a lot to what you do and to the history of what you do.
Yeah.
So when you get done here, you're going to go over to Disc Exchange at 6 o'clock, right?
That's right.
And then you're going to pick there for a little bit, and then you're going up to Preservation Pub to the Speakeasy about 7 o'clock tonight,
Exactly,
right?
yeah.
So
7 or 8, I think.
8 o'clock?
Go
cool.
on at 8, yeah.
Good. So I to give you time to eat supper between Disc
I hope
Exchange.
so, yeah.
But Speakeasy Preservation Pub, second floor, non-smoking, beautiful, wonderful listening room up there. So if you're going to get out and about this evening, about 8 o'clock down at Preservation Pub, that's where Ben's going to be performing live. Or if you want to get there a little early at the CD store Disc Exchange, you'll be performing there at 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So you got a busy day, man. You see in Knoxville,
Just
at least this
started.
end of it, from one end to the other, and from one station to the other. But again, welcome to town. We're very happy to have you here.
Thanks
man.
again, Benny. Thank you.
Ben Hall is what's described as, for those of you keeping score at home and know music, a Merle Travis style picker. Around here, you're probably more familiar with the Chet Atkins kind of style, which is very similar to a degree. If you will, describe to people what the Merle Travis style, kind of using your thumb type picking, describe to folks what that's about.
Well, the thumb on the right hand playing the bass notes, usually with a thumb pick, like so. And between those notes playing the chords for a little rhythm accompaniment there. And since the finger's on the right hand and Merle only used one, but I used two, play the melody. So it sounds like more than one guitar, and it works real well, especially when you can't afford a band.
Oh, yeah. So Merle had it figured out a long time ago is what you're saying.
He did, yeah. Merle had it down pat.
Yeah, you say he used one finger?
Yeah, on his right hand, just the index finger to play.
Right. And you go two. Mainly. Is that just a choice, or is that working your way up to Merle's one finger?
Well, it's I started with one finger and couldn't do nearly as much as Merle did with one, so I had to add another one. And Chet used two, sometimes three, and most of the players, I think, use two fingers now, more or less.
Right.
Just gives you a little extra note in there that Merle could get all those with one finger, but most people can't.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, Merle Travis, a huge influence on you and your music, and like I said, a little closer to home here, Chet Atkins.
Absolutely.
And his style of playing that literally helped put Nashville on the map as well. And so it's great that you're kind of coming home, even though you're not from Knoxville, but in a lot of ways, folks are going to hear that sound and think, yeah, this guy's right at home.
Honored to feel that way, too.
Well, we're honored to have you here in the studio and in town and playing on the radio. Before I come back and we talk about Merle and we talk about Chet and we talk a little about Charlie and some other things and people who have been so important to you in your professional and personal life, can we get a tune out of you before we...
I'd love to.
What you going to do, man?
How about Sweet Georgia Brown? That's
a good one everybody knows. This is Ben Hall, live on 90.3 The Rock and on UTTV The Rock. Unplugged. Let her go, Ben. Little Sweet Georgia Brown, timely because a couple months ago, Harlem Globetrotters were right next door, and I took my beautiful little daughter to see them for the first time, and obviously they've got more of the whistling version of Sweet Georgia Brown.
An experience everybody should enjoy.
Absolutely, man. You got to check out the Globetrotters at least once in your life. But definitely those guys, magicians on the court. Ben, a magician with the sixth string. Before we go any further, tell the folks, especially the musicians out there, what kind of guitar you picking and what strings you playing on.
This is a Wallace guitar from East Tennessee, coincidentally.
Absolutely.
A little town called Nyota, Tennessee, over there between here and Chattanooga. Wallace guitars. Custom builder there, builds acoustic and electric instruments. This is obviously an acoustic guitar, but he does really good work, especially for fingerstyle players.
Right.
Makes some great instruments. As far as strings, they're Elixir strings.
Oh, cool.
About one set every 3 or 4 months. They last a lot longer than most.
I was going to say, that's not bad there,
not
buddy.
bad at all.
That's very cool.
Not bad.
Again, with Ben Hall here live in studio and on UTTV, The Rock Unplugged. My name's Benny Smith. Ben Hall, the name of the CD as well, was released late this March, and it is a fine CD that's packed with some fine gems. Covers by Merle Travis, Louvin Brothers, Roger Miller, Woody Guthrie, some jazz standards, and original too on there as well.
Yeah.
Let's go back in time a little bit to Ben Hall when you were about 6 years old, and that I guess is when things really started churning maybe for you as far as music and being interested in music and maybe even picking up a guitar, but obviously you knew how to work, or at least tell your dad how to work his reel-to-reel tape.
That's right. Yeah, he showed me how to do that. Yeah, threading that reel-to-reel tape player at about 6, and discovered all the traditional country music that I've really grown to love, and dug a little deeper into what inspired that and vice versa since then. But that's how I found that in my dad's collection. He had some quite an extensive collection of late 50s and 60s era country music records on reel-to-reel.
All on reel-to-reel.
All on reel-to-reel. Yeah, I had to work for it. That's how I got exposed to that kind of music. And, of course, as a few years down the road, a couple years, I picked up the guitar and started just normally flat picking the guitar. About 12, picked up the thumb picking style.
Did you see Merle or hear Merle? Obviously on reel to reel, I'm sure you heard.
Yeah, I heard him sometimes. You know, he and Chet didn't realize who I was hearing on some other records.
Sure.
And, it was a little later that I actually found their solo records about the same time. Chet's first, and then getting into Merle a little more. Really interested in Merle's singing and songwriting as well. He was just the all-around deal, you know.
Absolutely.
I've discovered all that a little later, off the reel-to-reel.
One of the cool things about Merle Travis was when on Will a Circle Be Unbroken.
Yeah.
When he meets Doc Watson.
Isn't that cool?
For the first time, and I know you don't name my son after you. Doc tells Merle, and
that's what I've heard. Yeah,
that's what I heard. Something? He said Doc Watkins. I mean, but they knew each other. But it was just so odd. But well, not odd, but Doc being the amazing musician and person he is. I mean, he was humbled. He was there with Merle Travis, and you could just hear it in his voice. And when he says, I named my son after you, you could just tell, man.
You could hear the pride in both of them.
Yeah.
Man. Something to have that captured on record. It's always fascinating.
Yeah, that's a great collection. That Will the Circle Be Unbroken, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band put it together. If you're looking for it out there,
everybody
folks,
needs to hear that.
It's a great place to start with country music if you're looking for a place. It's a great thing. Obviously, you've grown up and played for quite a while. Is that what led you to Belmont, being one of the top, I guess, music colleges in the country now, as far as not just one type of music, but obviously being in Nashville and not just playing, but in the music industry too. But did that lead you to Belmont from Mississippi?
It did, not to study music, but to study music business. But being around the music, of course, had a lot to do with that, and having a place to study music business of all things. I've always been interested in the business end of things as well as the creative part. And that having that option available, always loved Nashville. Fascinated with the Grand Ole Opry, and it just seemed like the only option.
Yeah. Well, led you to Nashville. And by the way, we are speaking again with Ben Hall here live on 90.3 The Rock and UTTV The Rock Unplugged. His debut solo CD titled Ben Hall. He will be at Disc Exchange at 6 o'clock, and then about 8 o'clock he'll be up the Speakeasy at Preservation Pub this evening as well. And then I guess the big deal that probably hit you more than anything, as far as well, I guess it did is it Comer Moon Mullins? Did that come before Charlie? You met Charlie? Okay, tell us about Comer, because that really was more your style.
Out in about 12 years old, out in Arkansas in the Ozarks one weekend. Family used to go out there and vacation every once in a while about this time of year. That's, I guess, about 10 years ago now. Anyway, I heard this guy play, and I had heard the thumb style, like I've said already, with Chet and Merle and some of those things, but never heard it like this guy Moon Mullins played. He played more of a signature style than any of them, I thought. Mainly acoustic playing, and he had a little ragtime feel that I
was going to say, there's so much jazz in that style of picking.
Yeah, that's right, it is, and it's just a jazz and ragtime approach that can really set it apart from the way another person plays it, how much of that you put in there. But Moon was just blew my mind at that age. I'd heard of him before and heard of his guitar playing and so forth. We started talking, and he really encouraged me to get into that style of playing, and it was someone, the first and one of the only people I was ever to really be around one-on-one that could show me some of those things, and that helped a lot to really kind of push me over the edge into the thumb picking.
It's really cool when you find people as amazing as he is, or is he still around? He is as far as a performer, who are so willing to share it with somebody like you, that they know that you've got the passion and you're going to treat it with the respect it deserves. I'm sure it was, was that when, or had before then, the light going off and you thought, although you were, 12 at the time, so you're probably not thinking about a career, maybe, but I don't know. I
never entertained anything else. It was the only time I could ever I knew it would be music related. I'm not going to say I haven't entertained other paths, but music related, of course.
Most musicians have had to entertain.
Certainly. And that did, about that time, everything started to click. And when I got deeper into music than I'd ever been when I finally discovered the thumb style. And it felt like where I was supposed to be in the guitar world anyway, what I was supposed to pursue. And that's where all that came from, out in Arkansas, of all places.
Very cool. So there is something worthwhile in Arkansas.
That's right.
So, good, man. Again, Ben Hall live in studio on 90.3 The Rock and UTTV The Rock Unplugged. And if you're in town, you can check him out at Disc Exchange at 6 and up at the Speakeasy on the second floor of Preservation Pub this evening around 8 o'clock. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Charlie Louvin, a man near and dear to you in many ways, and a little bit more about your record. But before we do that, can we give the folks listening another example of the main reason you're in here today? Is picking that Git box. What you going to do?
How about the Guitar Rag, Merle Travis tune?
Right on.
I may sing a little bit if that's all right.
We'll let you, buddy.
Don't hold it against me.